Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Trek stream and the Blind Press YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. And today we're going to talk about episodes that broke continuity or just kind of just
Broke
messed
us.
up the story or just pissed us off. Because we're always, glowing about Trek. So I figured that we love Star Trek enough that we can find its faults and still love it. So let's dig into that. So I am joined by my wonderful friends Skeptalk,
Hi, everybody.
Dr. Functional,
Yo.
Irate Prostate,
Hola.
and where's Hammer? Hammer's not here yet. Oh well.
Evidently, it's not hammer time.
That is unusual. Hammer is usually the first one here. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah.
But so we were just quickly before we went live kind of running down through people were kind of like guessing each other's picks. But I just figured that we would just kind of do a freeform type of stream. And
I've got a good one to start us off.
Oh, go ahead, Skep. What?
Does anybody think that it's not a practical way to live to be a race of people who speak only in metaphors? I mean, I admit that this was an interesting idea. I know that a bunch of stoner writers got together. Hey, man, this is awesome.
I resemble that remark.
I hear you.
So do I.
My takes one.
Hey, when the walls fell.
Shaka when the walls fell.
Yes, Tembo with his arms open or whatever the fuck it was, spread wide. Here, have some fire.
Elmer John with toenail fungus.
Yeah. What? How are they supposed to live their lives normally? How does that even work?
I don't know. Maybe it's like, especially if they're trying to become part of a group of cultures and species that don't speak that way. Hello, Hammer.
Stop.
Hammer time.
Hammer when the walls fell.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a very interesting notion to put forward, but the execution just not.
It was strange. It was strange and
weird.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's
a
lot of people
man.
A lot of people love that episode.
I really think it's one of their better episodes.
I really thought it was great.
That's one of Pincolo's favorites, actually, is that episode. But I do see your point.
I just can't figure out how they live their daily lives.
Yeah. It's
what do you mean exactly? What are you trying to say, honey? Can you imagine a fight between a man and wife in metaphors?
In the Tamarian language?
Well, yeah. What are you saying? Me with my legs not spread.
But why?
The bull not in season.
Yes, exactly.
So it's almost like it's the stereotypical Indian feather, not dot, trying to speak, the white man language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not enough words.
And you could see Picard. Like, the one thing that I did find interesting about that was Picard trying to tell the story of Gilgamesh in metaphor.
In metaphor, right, exactly. That's a great example.
That's
a stretch.
Was really, Uruk, or Gilgamesh at Uruk. It was just... And you could tell he just kind of gave up halfway through, right? And he just started talking in normal
Are we talking about
speech.
Darmok?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you gone through all the sayings already?
All the
A few of
sayings.
them. A few of them.
I've got them all written down. If you want to go through them real quick.
Picard and
So-
Dathon at Eladril.
So it's Temba, his arms wide. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
Yeah.
Shock when the walls fell. Uzani's army with fists open. Sokath, his
Yes.
eyes uncovered.
Yeah.
Tamak, the river Tamak in winter. Zinda, his face black, his eyes red. Mirab with sails unfurled. Rai and Jiri at Lunga. Kazani's children, their faces wet. Kadir beneath Mota. Kateo, his eyes closed.
So practical.
And the long one, Rai and Jiri at Lunga, Rai of Luwani, Luwani under two moons, Jiri of Umbaya, Umbaya of Crossroads at Lunga, Lunga her sky gray. Nobody really knows that one.
Jesus Christ.
Chenza at Court, the Court of Silence. Kira at Bashi, and Kalimash at Bahar, and Kalish when it rises. And I think the last one is Zima at Enzo, Zima and Bakor. Those are all of them. I wrote them down. We aren't even going to be. I didn't know we were going to even talking about this episode.
This
But
this is my number one pick for strange ones.
For things that just don't work.
Just
for
don't.
you,
It just
right?
didn't.
Really?
It didn't work for me. It just made no sense, and I just went. Seemed like a good idea. You should have left it on the cutting room floor.
It is one of my favorite episodes, and it feels very TOS to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like
Yeah, it is actually very TOS for TNG. It really
It
is.
is.
That's a good point.
you've got just the captain and the two captains, and it's a very they've got to work together to solve something.
I was surprised that they came up with that much language.
Yeah.
All of
It'd
those
be like-
different phrases. That's a lot of phrases to put into a show.
It's like Fargon shrooms in the in the refreshment line at the Who concert,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
very much.
You know exactly what I mean by that.
I've been in that line.
One of my episodes, it's actually a two-parter, that really, really pissed me off and just ruined the Borg continuity for me. And quite frankly, was probably the beginning of the end of the Borg, is Dark
Q?
Frontier.
Is which one?
Dark Frontier. Which the episode makes me mad because as a story, like the whole rescue of Seven of Nine and everything, is a really riveting episode. But they were there was no mention of these two wayward scientists
Right.
going off to discover the Borg until
Before
it
the
was
Borg-
convenient.
It was like before the Borg were discovered, they were there.
Yeah.
Like they stumbled onto it or
Before
something.
Q through the first
Yes.
through the Enterprise into the path of that cube, they somehow knew enough about the Borg to go to the Delta Quadrant to study them. What the fuck? No.
Did you say this is a two-parter?
It is. It's
It
a
is?
two-parter. Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's put as 1 hour and a half
Oh.
long thing. They did the same thing with the episode where Worf came on board DS9. They made it into 1 hour and a half thing. But it is a double, like on TV. It's a double. It's
It's both the 15th and 16th episode
Yeah.
of the 5th season.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just it makes me so mad because it's well told in itself, but it's just so out of continuity that it just doesn't it doesn't work. It's
I thought with your preamble, you were honestly going to go with Descent from TNG.
oh no, Descent. I love Descent. Descent's one of my favorite episodes. But
Really? Okay.
But I'm a sucker for any episode that has data and lore in it together.
Well, it did have good aspects, but to get back to your
But-
pick,
Yeah, Dark Frontier just that whole and the queen getting like mafioso on 7 of 9. like what the fuck? Like
You got a nice little ship here. I'd hate to see it assimilated.
like it's just ugh. Like and we knew that the Voyager was gonna rescue 7. Like we knew that was good. Like when they left it, like 2-parters are supposed to be I wonder what's gonna happen next.
It's called the
moment,
cliffhanger.
right? No, this one was they ran out of time. They're gonna rescue 7 next week. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no. It was like, 45 minutes are up. Like it was just
They're sure as hell not going to kill her.
no.
the flashbacks to her parents were so
They
infuriating.
were.
Like their special shielding. Why didn't the Federation have this special shielding before now? Before we learned about how it happened 30 years ago?
Because they're Mary Sue scientists who happen to come up with this shit on the fly. Because they're supposed to be super duper geniuses, I guess. I don't know. Like seriously, they both felt like a Mary Sue and a whatever the male version of that is. It's like, we've got a solution for almost everything. We've got this weird cloaky device that we can put on ourselves and hang around a Borg cube for hours.
Yeah.
And like,
Arrogant scientists.
yep. It was just so out of continuity, and really like it made the Borg. It was one of those things that made the Borg just less frightening.
It was a sloppy add-on
Yeah.
to try to, give her character more dimension, I guess.
Yeah.
It made it look like the Borg could be exploited and no one would know. That
Yeah.
someone was actually smarter than them.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on? Because I've got there was another thing
Please.
burn
Go
my
ahead.
saddle.
Go ahead.
This is just about all of TNG, really, about the Enterprise D.
Uh-oh.
Is it really a great idea for everybody to bring their family on board?
See, the Ferengi even
Board ship.
mentioned that in Rascals,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
episode Rascals, when they take over the ship.
Yeah,
And Riker is
the rogue Ferengi. Yes, that's right.
because Picard has been accidentally childized, so Riker is in charge of the Enterprise, and the Ferengi is talking to him. He goes, this is you have a fatal weakness. You have your family with you.
Yeah,
What kind of moron?
we can make you
brings
do
his
whatever we
family-
want.
Exactly. What kind of moron brings his family into space with him?
He says space is a
doesn't-
dangerous place, and one of the great understatements of the entire series.
Doesn't Picard make the same point somewhere early in the beginning of the
I'm
series?
not a family man, Riker. Yet,
Right.
Yet Starfleet has seen fit to give me a ship with families on board.
Right. He didn't like it either.
Nope.
So I think
kinda
it's a really bad idea.
I kind of understood it a little bit more with the Enterprise as opposed to like whatever the hell Cisco's ship was. We're gonna go engage the Borg, so let's bring my son and wife.
The Melbourne, or was it the Melbourne he was on? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
What the hell ship
I'll have
was
to
he
Google it.
sailing on? It was one of the ones at Wolf 359. I know that. But yeah, it was like, why not get all the family off the ships before going to fight the Borg?
Exactly. Space is a dangerous place. It's no place for a family. I mean,
Like even Janeway is
It was a Saratoga.
Saratoga, thank you.
which
but
always gets blown the fuck up.
even Janeway, when Ensign Wildman is like due to have her kid, she's like, is Voyager really a good place to raise a kid? Like,
Is this going to be a generational
is this gonna
shift?
be good here? Like, cause it's not. It's true. Like, it's a very dangerous place. Even
I
if you're
wonder what would
established.
happen, because his wife was a scientist, right?
Jennifer, yeah.
Jennifer was a
she-
civilian scientist. Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
assigned to that ship, right?
No, she was a
Saratoga?
civilian.
No, she was a civilian.
Right, but they have lots of civilians who were assigned to those ships
That's
as part of
true.
the Federation. So
That's
I thought they were married. He was assigned to the ship, so he got her assigned to the ship. So what would they do with the kid? Leave them at home?
Leave him with
Well, if
his
they-
dad.
See, the thing is, they're going to engage the Borg at Wolf 359. They could have offloaded all non-essential, like, civilian personnel and gone to engage, but they decided to bring, like, it just didn't
Jake
really...
could have very well.
How much
stayed in
warning
Normandy.
did they have that the Borg were going to be at
Oh,
Wolf 359?
Probably not enough to go back to Earth. Like, and a lot of the ships
Wolf
were.
359 is pretty close to Earth.
Yeah, but think about it. Not everybody was at Earth to when
Shuttlecraft.
when they were launched. Oh,
Anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's something that never sat well with me with DS9, but I understood the need to have those motivations, and that's his character. He's the widowed father. You know, like, I understood why it had to be there. I think it was just clumsily executed.
I can see getting the kids off the ship if the ship is big enough to have a runabout, something that's warp capable, but all it's got is a couple of shuttle pods. They're sitting ducks.
that's more target for the Borg
Yeah.
at that point.
Even if they set them off sooner, eventually they're going to run into them at some point.
Yeah.
Because that's where the Borg is going. They're going to Earth. The other people are also going to Earth. They're going to run into the shuttle pods, and it's just going to be boop boop, they're dead. You
Yep.
know, unless they have a warp capable. And I don't know how big of a Saratoga is. I don't know if she's got runabouts in her.
No, she's a Reliant class.
Okay.
But there was the Excelsior class Melbourne. There was I think it was the Yamaguchi was a Galaxy class, and there was a Nebula class, as well as 2 more Saratoga classes and it's on the tip of my tongue.
There was an admiral's ship there as well.
That was the
Melbourne.
Galaxy
That
class.
was the Melbourne.
That was the Melbourne.
Was it?
Oh, you just made me think of something.
What's that?
The Enterprise can't be a flagship.
Why can't it be a flagship?
There's no flag aboard. There's no admiral aboard. The highest ranking, the senior officer present afloat, as they say, SOPA, is the captain. In
For the
order to
American
be a
military,
flagship,
Mr. Navy.
Yeah, for the American military, true.
Yeah.
For the Federation, who knows?
No, he's got.
why would you call it a flagship if it didn't have a flag officer, which flag officers are called flag officers in their fleet? Why would you call it a flagship if it didn't have a flag aboard?
I think Picard actually says something to us to the exact line of, "What's the Federation flagship doing here?" Doesn't he say that we're out here looking at comets when we should be fighting the Borg?
Mm-hmm.
He says, "What they see fit that the flagship should be out here." I think he
Oh,
says it specifically by phrase, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He might.
It's either
I
him
don't
or
remember
Riker
well
that
enough.
says
I can't
that.
remember yeah, I can't
First
remember who
contact.
says that.
It's either him or Riker.
But anyway, you see my point. They have flag officers. Flag officers means the same thing. It's not a big stretch to say that, a flagship in their fleet is going to be defined the same way that the U.S. Navy, the British Navy, and the French Navy, the Australian Navy, the Canadian Navy all define their ships as, a flagship is a ship that has the command of a group of ships, which is, that's the difference between captain and admiral, roughly, is that admirals command groups of ships, captains command a ship. And and they call them flag officers, and the ship upon which the commander of that squadron of ships or battle group or whatever is aboard is referred to as the flagship. They
That's
keep
the other-
calling it a flagship, and it's not a goddamn flagship. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's the other thing too, Skep. They seem to operate individually as ships. There were no battle groups until, hey, we need to defend Wolf 359. Let's get this group together. And then later on in DS9, they say, yes, we have the 7th Fleet, we have the 8th Fleet, whatever.
Yeah.
But most of TNG, it's just all single ships. Like they need to meet up with
That's a
someone.
good-
Here
that's
comes
a
the
good
ship.
point. That's a good point.
They never run into. Oh, we're running into. We're meeting up with this battle group or this fleet.
Duck Dog has a great point. He goes, "Would you really want a Federation flag officer out there? They've been proven incompetent and corrupt on many occasions."
They really are. That's actually a great
Looking
point.
at you,
Great
Admiral
point.
Satie and
And
Nietzsche.
Mitch.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what was the other dude?
Admiral Haftel, who wanted to take
Data?
Lol
Lol.
away from
That's what it
Data.
was. Yeah.
Asshole.
Prick.
Speaking of Data,
Okay.
here's something that really bothered me. When Commander Shelby took Data down to the planet in Best of Both Worlds. Now, she's gunning for Riker's job, right? So she should know that Data not only is a valuable member of the Enterprise crew, but also holds an insane amount of information on the Federation. And thinks that it's just hunky-dory to take him down where the Borg might still be around.
Well, Shelby was a bit of a dunce.
Oh my god. But the thing is that nobody pointed that out to her. Like,
Yeah.
Riker didn't even go, listen, why would you bring essentially a walking computer that the Borg could very easily take or get all of our
Assimilate basically the entire Starfleet
yeah,
database.
You
Yeah.
fucking if you know what would have caused way more and actually better tension is if Riker would have gone, "You're dismissed back to the ship, Commander Shelby. You're an idiot."
Yeah, for someone that they tout of having a keen tactical mind, she was not very tactical.
Extremely untactical of her to do that.
Like maybe her ambition got a little the best of her.
Yeah.
She wanted to be the early bird.
Early bird gets the worm, hey, Commander? Oh, I just
Oh, I
wanna
hate her.
smack that little shit. Oh. So, so did anybody pick space ghost sex as their issue, as one of their issues?
I said it before, I'll say it again. Times were tough in the 24th century for gingers.
I guess so. Ugh. But what would you think is one of the biggest continuity, or continuity problems? Because there's a lot of stuff in Trek and a lot of lore to keep straight, so there's bound to be, a mix-up once in a while.
Well, all right. The first thing is the Klingons. I mean,
Yes.
they're different just about every time you look at them.
Every series, they're different.
You
Yeah,
know, it's like, what the?
that's true.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
That was very true. They are very, and they even try to explain it away in the Trials and
Oh, and the new
Tribulations
ones with the
season.
piercings and shit.
Oh yeah,
What?
and
In Enterprise with Uncle Phil.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, all talking like they sound like they got a mouthful of marbles.
Well, it was the fangs, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That made me squeal like a little girl when I saw Uncle Phil as a Klingon. I was just like, what? Wait, what?
Dude.
And they tried to explain away the whole disappearing of the ridges. Well, you don't need to do that, really. You don't. TOS was a beast unto itself. Let it lie.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about.
My biggest problem, and I'm gonna shit a little bit on the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. because they tried to tell a story that was almost but not quite the same, and they did what every Star Trek writer does when they get lazy, and they went, time travel! That's it! Time travel! It's different because of time travel! And I couldn't get behind the Kelvin timeline because of that. It was too close to the original, but just different enough for them to be able to go, look, it's different. See, timeline. It's,
Oh,
You know,
go ahead.
JJ wanted Shatner to be in, and Shatner
Oh,
talked
I
him out
bet
of it.
he
Like,
did.
well, how is this going to work when you have young Kirk and old Kirk? And JJ looks at him. He's like, you're right.
so I'll get young Spock and old
And,
Spock.
and then he ends up going to get fucking Nimoy anyway. It was just whatever. Sorry, IP. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that I just looked at like yesterday a deep fake where they put like the old Kirk, all of their faces on the Calvin characters, right? Bones
Oh,
and
that's so
Spock and Kirk, and it was great. It looked great. So it was a lot more believable. Yeah.
I couldn't get behind the Calvin timeline because it was it was lazy to me.
But the Beastie Boys, I mean, come on. Sabotage.
Ugh. And then there's just, and then of course there are some episodes that just, you're in a middle of a really good season and it's going really well. You've got good episode after good episode, and then comes something like Bride of Chaotica or
or any Tom Paris episode.
that horrible episode in season 2 of TNG, that Royale episode.
Oh, where they're stuck in the book?
Where they're stuck in the book. Yeah, that was just...
Well, I mean, that was one of the three main problems. It was either the holodeck, alien interference like that, where they're trapped somehow, or I'm totally blanking.
Or it's just some ridiculous, like, thing that doesn't even fit. Like
Move Along Home?
Like, that, or,
Ghost Sex?
The Ghost Sex, or even that, the Flesh and Blood episode ruined 8472. Like, just ruined them. Like, they were kind of freaky.
Oh, 8472 sex. Yes, I remember that.
They were kind of... 8472, like, that was kind of a freaky idea, right? And then they had to go and make them into these, like, just crazy, paranoid... we're, like, more paranoid than a fucking Romulan. Almost xenophobic level of just let's pretend to be Federation so we can learn about them and go attack them. Like, it just made them out to seem like a weak-minded crazy race when they originally looked pretty damn powerful and pretty damn scary.
They ran out of CGI budget.
I guess so.
But yeah, that was very frightening. Like, oh my god, somebody who could basically sneeze at the Borg and just blow away an entire group of ships.
And then, like, what they did to
what?
Harry, right? What
Oh,
they
with the
did, that
infection?
was insidiously creepy. Like, just, like, just attacking your tissues, and you're living through it. Like, and then you turn, and then it's like, oh look, we've got this pretend Starfleet installation because we're all terrified of Starfleet. Why are you terrified of Starfleet? You've proven in Scorpion that you shouldn't be terrified of Starfleet. Oh, what? Like because they had the nanoprobes? You got scared? Like what? I'm confused. Like
Yeah, I don't know.
it just didn't work for me.
Well, here's a species you can take out the Borg like they're nothing, and suddenly a couple thousand of their ships are blown away by one Federation starship. I would be concerned.
Yeah. I would be concerned too, but I don't know if I would assume that it was the entire
Or that it was going to be an invasion.
or that yeah. Like it's one ship.
Yeah, but in destroying all those ships, they were sealing the rift that bridged the two universes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see that as something invasive. I don't know.
No.
It's just weird.
They closed that particular rift, but I certainly under the impression that another rift can be opened at nauseum as many times as you wanted to.
Yeah, Seven had no issue opening a rift into fluidic space.
Yeah, you make a good point.
But it just the flesh and blood episode kind of took away the scariness of 847 especially when you had the guy pretending to be Boothby. You know what? Like that just didn't. It just didn't work for me. I don't know. It didn't work.
Yeah, it really didn't work.
Where you get what's
A little too accurate.
a little too accurate, yeah. There was another couple of TNG episodes that really annoyed me, and now they're the game. That stupid video game.
Oh yeah, that
Wesley
was
comes
horrible.
back to save the day again.
Robin Leffler.
Save me.
He was the Mary Sue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wesley's
Stop trying to
The Wesley Sue.
and stop trying to make Robin Leffler a thing. She's awful. She's a more masculine Wesley Crusher.
She really is. I have nobody, so I carry around rules for life on a pad. Like
I wasn't a big fan of Naomi Wildman either.
Yeah.
Snap.
You know who I was a fan of was Marina Sirtis. But there was one thing I didn't like about her.
Camel toe.
Eyes in the dark.
No.
What? Oh, circles.
No.
Which one? What did you not like about Marina Sirtis?
Name one Betazoid, one other Betazoid who has an accent like hers. She
None.
should not have talked differently from the other Betazoids, and the other Betazoids just have a regular American style
I don't think
accent.
she can get
Well,
rid
you
of the
would have to
Russian
be an
accent.
actor to do that.
And why isn't the Universal Translator just getting rid of accents?
Oh yeah. What about the Universal Translator? I didn't even think of that.
That's why it always pissed me off when they encounter Klingons or something, and they were on the ship and they're talking Klingon and there's subtitles. I'm like, but the
Well,
Universal Translator, come on!
Right.
Obviously, it's not
exactly.
universal because of Darmok.
No, it's not universal. That's true.
Well, it still has to learn. My number one pick for episodes that should not have existed. Alan Moraine, count to 4. Alan Moraine, then 3 more. And I wanted to. I skipped that every time, and I love DS9, even the bad
And
episodes.
you can even hear the actors while they're
Yeah,
doing.
they
the
didn't like
little-
it either.
They're like,
We're stuck in this stupid game with these stupid aliens.
I'm going to kill my agent.
It was called.
yeah,
Move,
pretty much. Yeah,
it's called. Was it called Move Along Home? Is that what? the name of the
move
episode?
along home.
Move Along Home, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That
like
was it.
Near the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Boy,
So
bad. That was a bad episode. That really was.
That was really.
and it just the whole suspense being that they don't know it's fake, it's just a game, and they never once kind of would mention that even in alien species they seem to be able to communicate just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they have holodecks, holosuites. It's kind of the same thing, but they always tell people when they experience a holodeck for the first time, oh, it's not real. It's just force fields and light. It's harmless.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
You know,
there was this. I just had a list of these that I kind of went through and I'd read some articles and stuff. Whatever happened to Dr. Pulaski?
I don't know, and I don't
She
care.
was not written out. Yeah, I know. Who cares? I hear you. I feel you. I feel you. But we don't. She should have been killed or something.
I wish.
Maybe she should have fallen down a turbo lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, just was
In that
seen
Contagion episode.
being pushed by another doctor.
Suplexed by a Klingon and having her spine broken in
No,
half.
by Gates McFadden.
Give me back my sick bay, you
Only one doctor on this ship.
This sick bay's not big enough for both of us.
She was just awful. Like, I did not like the fact that they tried to make her a female Bones. And, like,
All
with
of her
Yes.
TOS, all of her stuff in TOS was really good though.
it was. That's what was really
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Was that
Was
she
it, though?
So it was a
like,
writing failure. That was completely a writing failure. I think.
because they gave her all of the crassness of Bones without any of the warmth.
Charm, right?
Like, she just came across as this rotten cunt. Like,
Wow. Okay.
I hate
She
Pulaski.
kind of was. Look at the episode where Worf breaks his spine, and the other doctor. She's constantly butting heads with the other
That's
doctor.
not
And
Pulaski. That's Crusher. We're
Is that
talking about
Crusher?
Pulaski. Yeah, no. The only like, and she no, but Pulaski makes fun, like, kind of teases Worf about getting the Klingon version of the measles, right?
Right.
She treats Data like absolute garbage when she first comes on board. In fact, the whole reason that Professor Moriarty was created on the Enterprise was because Pulaski was, like, basically talking to Geordi like Data wasn't there and was like, oh, well, it just doesn't, it's no use, Lieutenant, it doesn't understand. It doesn't know what it's like to, have a mystery or solve a mystery. It's like
she issues the challenge, and then Geordi, yeah.
and Geordi, because and it was an interesting double metaphor, because not only was Geordi defending his friend, but you kind of felt like Geordi knew what Data, like, if Data was human, would feel, because even in the 24th century, even before Geordi got his visor, you kind of had the feeling in his reaction that some kid somewhere gave him shit because he was blind. And he kind of took that on the same level as, it's just a robot who has no humanity. Like, it kind of felt like it was a personal attack on Geordi as well as on
Right.
Data. So I think that's why Geordi kind of reacted the way he did with Pulaski, because the way that it was written kind of did feel a bit like there was the way Geordi reacted kind of felt like there was some kind of not just defending my friend here, but I know how this feels type of thing.
I didn't like it
But-
that she didn't know how to pronounce Data's name.
Data, yeah.
Data.
And the way that she, like, and he's like, it is Data. What's this? Did I hurt your feelings? Dude, just fucking say Data. Why do you have to be a bitch?
Kind of expect the nurse to evaluate the medical records and know how each name is properly pronounced, because what's she gonna say? Oh, Counselor Twiss, how do you pronounce your name? No, she knows her name is Troy.
Yeah.
But then suddenly she doesn't know how to pronounce Data's name. What? Inconsistent.
Dr. Giordi LaForge.
Giordi, yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't work at all. Of course, it's like getting Data to say a contraction. But do you remember the episode called was it Conspiracy?
I
At
love
the
that
end
episode.
at the end of Conspiracy, which is a great episode, there is a homing beacon thing,
Yes.
and there's this kind of ominous thing that they might have gotten the message through to the parasite homeworld, and that the Earth may be findable to these things, and you never hear about that again.
And
It
I
always
wish we
bothered
did.
me.
I
Always
really
bothered
wish
me. I wanted
agree.
more of that. Yeah,
It was pointed at another galaxy though, right?
it was.
It
I
wasn't
don't
inside our
think
galaxy. It was outside of our galaxy. That these
Yeah,
things came from.
it was pointed intergalactically,
Yeah.
but out away from our galaxy certainly, but away from our galaxy is everywhere. So but anyway, I want to know who received the homing beacon and what they did with the information. And it always kind of bothered me that was never followed up. So that's another one that's on my list.
It seems like a weird thing all the way around, because if they're sending a signal to another galaxy, then I mean there's debris all throughout each galaxy and in between galaxies. How are you possibly going to get a message that far? Because it's going to be, I mean, try to travel from one galaxy to another. It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
And you're going to compensate for all the star drift and galaxy rotations to try to get a specific message to a specific planet on a specific galaxy that's nowhere near you.
Wow. Especially at only light speed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which in intergalactically, that's not that fast.
No.
The light that we're seeing from the star Betelgeuse left Betelgeuse about the same time Columbus left Portugal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's kind of silly that they're worried about that when they're trying to stop him.
Spain, wherever he left from.
Yeah, they're like saying like, oh, he was sending a signal out, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, but it's going to be a day or two, Yeah. So we got time. I mean, it wasn't subspace, right? It was just regular.
Yeah, it was just a regular transmission. So, and maybe that was just a last ditch thing, and it died in space, and inverse square law and all that jazz. But they could have at least thrown me a bone and said, well, fortunately that communication died in space because they mispointed the beacon and it just went into a void of nothing, and nobody could ever hear that, and then I would be okay. But now I'm still worried about those goddamn worms.
Right? That was a creepy. Like, I still won't watch that episode if the kids are in the room.
Really? Yeah, don't want. Yes,
because I don't want them to be like freaked out.
I hear you.
What about Justice? All that moose knuckle.
God.
Another great Wesley episode for you.
Just let them kill the kid.
Right? The entire time I rewatch it, and I'm just like, please kill him. Fully well knowing, like, nothing I say or do is going to change the outcome of the episode. But I'm just,
if
praying.
interfere with my children below.
Yeah, if I'm on the Enterprise, I'm like, Wesley, there's a problem in the airlock. I need your help.
Wesley, the warp core reactor is making a really weird noise.
Yeah.
Do you mind sticking your head down there and seeing what's going on?
Yeah, just a little bit farther. Attaboy. A little bit farther.
The Bussard collectors need a good cleaning.
Yeah, we would all kill Wesley and feel okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
what is it about Wesley that is his worst problem? Is it the fact that he's a Mary Sue, or that he's annoying, or what is it about him? If you were to fix Wesley, besides killing him, if you were to fix him so that he was appropriate for the show and acceptable for the show, even in a not so great way, but at least kind of
he needs a flaw. He needs a flaw. He needs a flaw. He needs something that breaks him, something that renders him human, imperfect, and kind of
Something besides messing up a science fair project.
Yeah, exactly.
Having
That's not a flaw.
Having everyone on the ship go, "It's okay, son. We'll help you fix it."
Yeah,
So he is kind of a spineless bitch.
Yeah.
You look at when he was on trial for the Colborne Starburst maneuver.
Colborne Starburst, yeah.
Covert, yeah.
know.
Well, and he folded like a cheap suit under Picard.
Yeah, like I said, he's a spineless bitch. He crumpled under Tom Paris, and then he crumpled under Picard.
Right, exactly.
He crumples under everybody.
So to fix him, you want to give him courage.
Like actual courage. Like he needs to have
one way or the other.
Something that gives him real courage.
See, like, the dogs hate Wesley too.
The closest thing that got him
I know we're talking about Wesley.
Being an actual person is in that episode Final Mission. Where him and Picard actually almost die.
Mm-hmm.
And Picard and Wesley is, for once in his life, he stops trying to, for a while he's trying to solve the problem, right? And he's stuck with solving the problem of the water. But finally near the end of the episode, he finally understands it's more important to keep my captain talking. Maybe I should forget about the stupid water for a minute. And actually try to, save my captain's life here by keeping him conscious.
It did humanize him somewhat.
That is the closest Wesley Crusher got to being more of a human character than just a wunderkind that shows up and
people say that he's a Mary Sue, but he's so codependent. He's spineless. He's not very wise. He has no authority figures that take his ass in line.
I want him to have a moral failing. I want him to have a porn addiction or something.
He always seems to have the answer, though. With all those other failings, he solves all the problems.
Which is that nobody can do that all the time. That's why I don't like Wesley, because even the smartest of the smart,
a plot device.
Yeah, even the smartest of the smart sometimes goes, I don't know what the fuck to do.
He's basically the deflector dish personified.
Yeah,
he's the we're out of time. Wesley solves it. We've written too many lines in the script. We're out of time.
Even in The Naked Now, the second episode, the only reason that they didn't get ripped apart by that star is because he somehow, even though he was drunk by that virus thing, managed to figure out a repulsor beam.
I'm serious.
And push them away from the ship and the other ship and the supernova star.
The guy who invented the tractor beam 100 years ahead before all of this never thought to himself, this could also be a repulsor beam.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't think of that. The guy who created the tractor beam.
Oh, Wesley would.
But Wesley, we can do.
Wesley would while he's drunk. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I've got an idea.
Which is even more brain hurty, knowing that it was invented by Vulcans and given to humans.
Yeah.
Brain hurty.
Yeah.
Where is that at? That it was given to us by Vulcans? Because I know the Enterprise.
Really? Near the end. Yeah. Andorians gave them phasers. Better phaser technology. They got tractor beams from the Vulcans and I don't remember what from the Tellarites.
Is that the last episode that we hear about that? I don't remember ever hearing about that. I know Enterprise pretty well. I don't remember anything along that lines.
I'd have to look it up.
I'd be interested to know where that came from.
Okay.
Oh, I sent functional off. Don't have to do it now.
And then there's the
I'm not saying
stupid.
anything.
Then there's the stupid episode about that the dolphin that princess chick
I'm serious.
Celia that Wesley falls in love with, the Elasimorph or whatever. That was an episode that just was boring and didn't need to be there. What, oh, Wesley falls in love with someone he can't be in love with. Okay, poor Wesley. Yeah, it's just it was just a boring episode. Like, they could have almost made Measure of a Man a two-parter and not had the dolphin. I felt the Measure of a Man was a little bit rushed. I think they could have made that a two-part episode and just not had the dolphin in that season at all and gone right on to Contagion.
Oh, sorry, Hammer. It's technically beta wiki stuff. It's from the Star Trek video game Legacy.
Oh.
Right. Kind of blends in your brain after a while. I'm getting old. Brain hurty.
I have something completely off the beaten track here. Do you remember Q being funny about Guinan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was up with that?
Called her an imp.
I really wanted to know more about that too.
Yeah, that always bothered me.
I would have liked to see like a recounting of their run-in or something.
I don't know. I kind of like the little hints that kind of just make you wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know though because it interested me enough. It was interesting enough for me to want more than what they gave us. So, I like mystery too, but I don't like it where it's so unformed where I have to do too much of the work. I like, I expect the writers to do something.
Well, Q is immortal, but her species is "quote unquote" long-lived. We don't
Ridiculously
really know.
long-lived.
Yeah, we don't really know how long-lived is, and never define it. So she could be at or close to being immortal too, and might be the only other species that is. And Q may not like that.
And she has actually a moral compass.
Yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah,
Either
I think
races.
that's probably more likely.
Because she's a race. She's from a listening race who listens and tries to help people. And Q is a shit disturber.
According to the official wiki, they can live well over 700 years.
Oh, that's not nearly
That's
as long as I
nothing
thought.
compared to Q. That's
I mean, compared to most of the other races, that's really long.
That's barely as long as I've lived.
Pincalo says he thinks he saw something on Lore Reloaded about Guinan, so he's trying to find it.
Oh, cool.
But
Guinan's an interesting character, though.
Oh, she is. She's a really interesting character, and I kind of like the way that they wrote her. That we don't know everything about her.
Yeah, I like the mystery too. I like some mystery, but I just wanted to understand what was going on between her and Q. Because I really didn't
feel the need to stab him in the hand with a fork.
Right, that's
Well, they're listeners, so they probably heard stories of the continuum and that Q in particular being a douchebag of the galaxy.
Yeah.
I think Q offends some moral sense in her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Guinan she's an interesting character because she's out there. She's not she doesn't fall in line. Like, even in her own species, she was not an outcast, but a
individualist.
Kind of
free spirit.
A free spirit, yeah.
Yeah.
But, on the other hand, she likes things the way she likes things. Like, you don't start shit and 10 forward. Because she'll pull out that gold-plated phaser from under the bar. That was level 1. Anyone want to see level 2?
She seems to know things that people don't generally know. She knows about the Borg, obviously, because they went after her planet, but she knows who the Q is too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's got this almost like in yesterday's Enterprise. She's like, I don't know what's wrong. I just know that this isn't right.
Something's wrong, but I can't tell you what it is, right?
Yeah.
So they have almost like that sort of sixth sense kind of development as well as their long life. It made for a really interesting race that you sort of get the little nuggets here and there throughout the series and some of the films.
Yeah. There should be credit given to the writers for this because she was a last-minute adding character. She wasn't. There wasn't.
Was she really? I didn't
Whitney Goldberg
Yes, she
called
was.
up and said that she wanted to be on the show, and they thought that she was kidding.
She asked LeVar, and then she said she told LeVar because she and LeVar are friends. She goes, "No, go tell Gene Roddenberry I'm not kidding." go.
Yeah,
tell him.
I can just picture that conversation. Oh, he thought you were kidding. No, I'm serious. Get me on the damn show.
Yeah.
And Roddenberry said, like, I'll write a part for you. And this is what they came up with. And they did a pretty good job considering how they had to weave her into the show.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing unnatural about her. I mean, she feels like family.
Yeah.
You know how some characters don't feel like family, Wesley? She feels like family. She feels like she belongs in the show.
Yes.
Well, remember, she has that relationship with Picard before Picard even meets her, which I thought was again a very interesting arc into her character. And from beginning to end, there was no real continuity flaws with Guinan.
Nope. Which is really cool because she's actually a risk. Like her character, if it had been done wrong, could have been rife with continuity errors.
Oh yeah.
I think the only thing I really have as far as complaints about this show was the only thing just talking TNG, the only thing that really got me was I didn't like the fact that Cedo Jaxa died. Of all the episodes, all the weird things that went on that show, when that happened, I was like, whoa. This is not the Trek I know. What the fuck's going on here? You know, I think she could have been, I mean, the fact that they brought her back once, because she was originally part of the Colbert Starburst debacle.
I think
they brought her back for that episode to help the Cardassian.
Yeah.
And she dies?
I think that was a miswrite as well.
I don't think that was, it was a bad idea. I think that when she could have been integrated into the show down the road, when Riker's offered his command to the Titan and Picard is thanking him, there could have been who's in your command staff. You know, this person, that person, this person, Cedo Jaxa, and Picard give him a look like, oh, I know who she is, kind of deal. Like, the little things would fit so well into the show, and just to have her killed for no real reason.
Or to have Cedo, perhaps
she's a good actress too.
Join DS9.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And help in that respect.
I do like my Bajoran women.
They could have given her a specialty, like she was a really good shuttle pilot or something like that, kind of like Riker was.
Well, if she was part of Nova Squadron, she was a good shuttle pilot. So.
Yeah, the guy who died was the one who fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Cedo, I think that was a bad move for them to have. Like, honestly, I think it was a bad move to kill Cedo and a bad move to have Ro leave.
Yeah.
You know, before we get to the end of the stream, I'm just saying, I'm going to say that we're having enough of a good time, and we have only scratched the surface of this topic. I think we could do this again next week.
We need a part 2. I think you're right.
I think we need a part 2. I'm just saying. Just see what you think. But
all right, time to get some homework done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a part 2 is needed because there's so much to.
There's so much more. I mean, I have only done part of my TNG list. I've got a DS9 list and a TOS list. I also had the Lady Captain one too.
The Lady Captain one.
Skep,
I've got a real quick one for you, Skep.
Ooh,
incapable of saying the word
STD.
Voyager.
All of it.
all of STD, yeah.
Yeah,
And all of Picard.
fair.
Oh man, you could have had potential with a new Trek, and you just
Blew it.
completely
Blew your opportunity.
We haven't
I
even
don't
talked
mind the
about
visual update of the JJ verse, things being more sterile, more clean, more plasticky as opposed to homey like you had with the Enterprise D.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of it just no, thanks.
We haven't even mentioned Lower Decks.
Oh God.
Has anybody seen it yet?
No.
The
I've not seen it.
I was gonna
Nope.
say, wait, the episode or the show?
The
Oh, I
show.
saw the episode, of course, but haven't
Because
mentioned the show.
there is an episode.
Yeah, there is an
called Lower Decks.
there is an episode. We're talking about this show, though, right?
Like I'd rather watch the old 70s cartoon.
Mm.
Was that
Just-
70s or 80s?
I love the music from that
From the animated.
the ending music for the animated one is just so TJ Hooker. It's awesome.
Get that 80s vibe. All right.
All right, guys, you have whiled away another hour with us, and it is now time for shilling. Irate, who have you got tomorrow?
Dave Lee Murphy, the one and only,
Very cool.
and it's going to be premiering.
And
Because
then you've got accelerated deconstruction tonight, right?
yeah, that's tonight, right? XD tonight, and then Monday, me and Becca are going to look at Soviet television.
Fun.
Duh.
And then, of course, there's Minions of the Zoo tonight, and I think Skeptalk and Functional will be there on
Yes, indeed.
Harry. And, of course, the coffee stream, it's March or April break this week, so I'll be doing the coffee stream at its usual time. However, I am fully expecting the public health unit to force us back to remote learning next week. So I may
Because
have-
potato.
Because potato. So I may have to go and do the coffee stream at night like I was doing
Back in the day.
like back in January. Because I will be effectively homeschooling him because he's not going to sit in front of the fucking computer all day. That's just bullshit. So yeah, but this week the coffee stream will be happening at its normal time. So come and watch that. And thank you guys for watching. And thank you to my friends for hanging out with me again and talking Trek.
Thank you for having us, my friend.
Thank you as always.
We
Thank
will
you,
see
ma'am.
you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Kapla.